You look back at all the experiences.
Kansas City Chiefs have won another Super Bowl.
Philadelphia dominated by the Buccaneers.
We all want to be the last team standing.
All that we go through, all that we've been through, even this moment right here.
Saquon's been able to take us to the next level.
And the fans chant MVP.
This is why I came to Philly. The only thing that matters is winning games.
What a season, but it's not over yet.
Saquon Barkley's historic season continues. His 2,447 rushing yards combined in the regular season and playoffs are 30 shy of the most in NFL history. He's just the second player to have 400 rush yards, 5 rushing TDs in a single season. Here's Saquon on going to the Super Bowl. Congrats.
When you signed here in free agency, did you think this would be a possibility to go to the Super Bowl your first year as an Eagle?
Of course, that's why I came here. It's one of the first conversations I had with Howie. That's a conversation I had with my family. And like I said last week, came to Philly to be a part of games like this. And none better than a game where you can advance to the Super Bowl. So super excited about that.
Oh, Shannon Sharpe, I'm starting with you. What was the biggest difference maker in the game? Was it Saquon or was it those turnovers?
Look, I think the turnover is what made the game get out of hand. But when you can just toss the ball, and normally we expect passing plays to be these spectacular 60, 70, 80 yards. But if you look at his resume this season, he has like 6 or 7 of those that's gone 70 yards. This is a simple toss. It doesn't get any simpler than this. RCDO, you know this is, hey, toss the ball. When I put 18 toss or 16 toss or handoff, I'm not expecting to hit the guy to hit his head on the goalpost. But he's a legitimate threat. There have been very few backs in the history of the game that's been a legitimate threat that when you hand him the ball, he has a chance to hit his head on the goalpost. Yes, the turnovers caused the game to get out of hand because the 4 turnovers led to 28 points. But it was Saquon that set the stage because the first play of the game, the first play he touched the ball, you hit it, it's like, oh, here we go. And I think at that point, I don't know, outside of maybe a Washington diehard, actually thought the Commanders were going to win that game. It was Saquon. The turnovers, yes, caused the game to get out of hand, but it was that 2-6 that did the number.
3 people. Number 1, it was Saquon. Number 2, it was Jalen Hurts. And number 3 was A.J. Brown. Saquon literally changes the way that teams line up. Shane, you notice it's math. They only got 11. Yeah. And when they hit the first play of the game, goes 60 to the house, all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh, what do we do now? And so then it's, okay, we got to put more people down near the ball. And I got to give Jalen Hurts his credit because for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, there was question marks of, is he going to play well enough? Can he play well enough? And there were some questions, and I was probably as loud as anybody. And I did not think that he played exceptionally well versus the Los Angeles Rams. And so you get that, ask those questions like, can Jalen Hurts get it done? And because of the way that it looked at times, you're like, I don't know. You know, I don't have a ton of confidence. And then all of a sudden, late in the second quarter, they motion over A.J. Brown. And it's 4th and 5 in a relatively big game, or big part in the game. A.J. Brown, run the go route. Perfect throw. Okay, so now you got the big play to Saquon, and you got a big play to A.J. Brown one-on-one. And as a defense, you got to be like, well, what in God's green earth do we do now? And then you get down in the goal line, and it comes 3rd and goal, and it's like, here's A.J. So you got to give those 3 guys. Yeah. Now, but it's Saquon, but Jalen being able to hurt you. When you go, all right, we're going to dare you to throw it one-on-one. Yeah. When he hurts you, that's when this offense is the ultimate pick your poison offense. And to do it in the NFC title game, you got to tip your hat.
You're wrong. You said it was 3 people. It's not 3. It's 8. It's that offensive line. Don't forget them 5 brothers. So you have
I like the fact that you're starting to like.
Listen. You got a week 11.
Step
I'm looking at
box.
this. Week 11.
Yeah,
it's growth for you.
The 3rd worst rushing defense in the National Football League this year, the Washington Commanders. Week 11 against the Eagles, they give up 228 yards rushing. Week 16 against the Eagles, they give up 211 yards. Yesterday, they gave up 229 with over 6 yards a carry. First play from scrimmage for the Eagles offense, Saquon Barkley takes it to the house. I mean, you basically setting the stage right there. Jalen Hurts did play well. Major props to him. Heard you on Get Up earlier this morning. You were absolutely right in terms of what you had to say about Jalen Hurts. Of course, A.J. Brown showed up. That's a beautiful thing. But Saquon Barkley, this is the difference maker. And let's be real. If the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl championship, you got to see something from Saquon Barkley, something special, okay? And he ain't getting that without that offensive line. They got to show up. Them brothers, I mean, there's gaps as wide as Broadway on a Sunday morning. I mean, some of these holes that they create for Saquon and anybody else for that matter, they're that potent. And I'm looking at that and I'm saying, damn, that's what you're going to need, because think about what you say about Andy Reid. Think about what you say about Spagnuolo and those brothers. Okay, you know from a coaching standpoint who's going to be perceived as having the advantage. You're not going to look and depend on Sirianni. You're going to depend on Saquon, which means you're going to need that offensive line. Them brothers going to show up. That's what I saw yesterday afternoon. And Washington had the turnovers and all that stuff is a different animal. And you know, last point I want to say before I give it to you, RC, is this. This is what disgusted me about the Commanders yesterday. We got a rookie quarterback that showed up in the house. And he the one that wasn't making the mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, that interception in there, they don't count. He didn't make the mistakes.
He was fighting.
It was the veterans around him that was making the mistakes. The rookie showed up. The others did it.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, I was in therapy one day, and I was asked a question. And my therapist said, if you closed your eyes and thought about what happiness would be tomorrow morning, what would it be? And I answered the question. If you were Howie Roseman, and they asked you that when you signed Saquon Barkley, it would have been yesterday. Right? It would have been, we are explosive in the run game. On top of Saquon Barkley being explosive in the run game, we have the legs of Jalen Hurts. And when the Washington Commanders want to try to stop the run and they stack the box and they go one-on-one on A.J. Brown, one-on-one on Devontae Smith, on Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts can take advantage of it. That was the vision for Howie Roseman when he signed Saquon Barkley. Now, there is no way that Howie Roseman dreamed this big. There's no way you thought that Saquon Barkley would have an historic season stepping into the Philadelphia Eagles, but he has. It was 23-34, and the Washington Commanders were driving.
Yeah.
Austin Eckler catches the football, gets off the ground. A backup, a special teamer, Oren Burks, who has taken the Kobe Dean spot, punches the football out. After the punch out, look at the pursuit to the ball. What Vic Fangio has done with the defense that Sean Desai couldn't figure out, that Matt Patricia couldn't get to play, has absolutely changed the trajectory of this team. And I think this is a complete football team. And Jalen Hurts knew coming into this game that it was going to be on him, that we were going to talk about whether or not he was able to execute. And I believe that's why he said something about a straitjacket after the game, because he wanted to let the world know, it ain't me. If you give me an opportunity to cook, I can. You have seen it before. And we saw it against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, and he's going to need that type of day.
This defense in Philly that RC's talking about, this defense is the closest defense we've had to the Legion of Boom since then. Because this defense is not, in an era of X's and O's, it's not overly complicated. They line up. They play violent at the line of scrimmage. They're great communicators. They run to the football better than anybody. Keep the top on the defense. They tackle with leverage better than anybody. I have said it all season long. When the offense has the ball and Philly's defense runs to the ball, count the amount of jerseys that are wearing Philly color jerseys versus everybody else. There's always more Eagles near the ball. That's how that ball gets punched out by Baun. He chases it. If you just watch the play, Baun runs to the ball faster than anybody in the field. And when the ball hits the ground, there's 6 Eagles there and there's 3 Commanders there. This play, look, count how many Eagles are in the screen. You got 4 or 5 Eagles in the screen. You got 3 Commanders. It's not by accident that this consistently happens. And that's how the Legion of Boom was. They would just chase. I'm telling you, you would line up as a quarterback against the Legion of Boom and be like, oh, y'all are in cover 3.
He about to hate.
I mean,
he about to hate.
I'm not, because technically, I'm thinking Mystique, Shannon. I get what you're saying. I'm not refuting anything. I'm not qualified to refute what you just broke down. What I'm saying to you is, when I thought Legion of Boom, it was like when the Ravens with Ray Lewis and the crew, I mean, there was a mystique that you walked into the building and it was like this.
But this group has been around long enough. Here's the other thing, though. It was consistency, though, right? It was that they were that good consistently, and it was when you went out and got Earl and you got Cam and you got Richard. That's what Howie is building now, right? Because that's what he's building.
And I don't want to.
And what he's talking about too is schematically. He's saying that they don't do a ton to be this It's effective.
It's a very simplistic defense.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm saying it in reverence.
It's a very
like I'm not
simplistic
trying to
defense.
minimize Legion of Boom. They haven't been around long enough to have the cachet.
Right.
Your word?
Reference. That's what I'm saying. The reference. I like that word too.
But like,
because it mattered.
Yeah.
When you walked into a building against the Ravens,
you know what?
against the Legion of Boom, you're like, damn.
But here's the
I think
thing.
you're missing
Can I
one.
score 15?
I think you're missing one. Okay, then.
But here's the thing. RC knows this.
You say it's still current, or you taking your time?
My side.
Chiefs defense is a scheme one. They'll confuse you. That's what happened on that 4th and 5.
Yeah.
That's not Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's number one up? Stephen A. Stephen A.
Guys,
It's
if you think about the Eagles,
Mystique.
if you look at the way the Eagles are built offensively unlike any other team. They're built to be explosive in the run game and efficient in the pass game.
Yeah.
A lot of teams try to build their offense explosive in the pass game, efficient in the run game. What Saquon did, and some of these other backs have done is said, no, the running back position isn't done. If you give us ample opportunity, we can run you. But a lot of times they try to, because I got a quarterback and I'm paying him $50 million, I don't really, if I pay a guy $50 million, do I really want to pay my running back that I'm paying $8 to $10 million? Do I really want him to be the show? How we say, hey, Sirianni and Kellen Moore. Yep. Kellen Moore. Who knew Kellen Moore wanted to run the football like this? Stephen A. I knew a guy. The man lost his job because somebody lied on him to the owner.
That's right.
We'll have more on that a little later.
And lo and behold,
don't worry. We're going to have more on this game in just a bit. The Chiefs are favored by 2.5 in the Super Bowl.